Eric, you sound like you're just right there in my ear. I mean, on like a super old Nokia phone in my ear,
I'm
just
inside you.
like squealing. You are kind of. So we're live. It's Tuesday. I guess we're gonna podcast. You know, it's like 89 million degrees outside. We should probably do podcasts. I guess. I guess.
Podcasting weather.
I know. Oh wow, Nick. Now you actually sound pretty deep.
Yay.
Well, now let's Eric.
Yeah, hey, what's up?
Okay, now Nick.
Hey, what's up?
Okay, now Eric.
Hey, hey, hey.
Okay, now Nick.
It's Fat Nick. No, it's not. Okay.
Hey, hey, hey! Talk about Android, bitches. I shouldn't say that. All right. Let's. Oh yeah, we have like this thing. This is very exciting. I'm gonna just tell you right now, I haven't looked at any news of any kind all week. So not just Android. Just want to let you know that all the news. Okay. All of it.
For centuries, we've been warned about little green men. Now, they're coming. They're coming for you. Run. But first, shut your windows. Hide your apples. Prepare for the attack of the Android. And now, your host and the human leader of the Android Underground, Matt Lee.
What's up, everybody? It's Tuesday, August 12th, 2014. This is episode 132 of Attack of the Androids. Every now and again on Tuesday, we do this show. We talk about Android and whatnot. Matt Lee, that's me. That's Eric on Skype with the crystal clear connection. Eric, how you doing?
Coming to you from the future. Future.
You sound like it. And nobody does audio engineering in the future. Also joining us.
No, we've given it up.
I know. Nick Carroll, how you doing, man?
Straight from the past. Hello, guys.
Remember when Hangouts used to work and look good? That's the version Nick's using. How you doing, Nick?
Pretty good.
Awesome. Let's see. You guys got a whole ton of stuff in this doc. I'm actually just opening it now, so this is going to be really fun. So I have heard that the black phone is getting out there in more people's hands, more people using it, people digging it, some people not maybe digging it. What do you think? Is it a bust? It's probably too soon to say one way or the other, yeah?
I think it's too soon. However, yeah. I will say that just yesterday, I met somebody who is not using a black phone, but using the silent circle, like phone calling, like basically using the software that's on the phone.
Using the apps sans the phone, right?
Exactly.
Right.
The black apps.
On crappy 3G, like the most unreliable 3G you've ever been on, crystal clear calls. Like I was really impressed.
Not like this.
Should we call you on your...
I should be calling from silent phone.
Can we WhatsApp you into the show? Oh man. So is it as secure? Can we talk about like slowly plotting your demise on these devices, or what do you think? How on a super secure scale rating of 1 to 3 dots, how many dots would you give it, Eric?
I'd give it 2 dots and 1 horseshoe.
2-point horseshoe dots. I like that.
Exactly. I would say, I mean, if it's just the voice, like assuming that there's nothing else that's capturing your voice, I'm sure it's probably pretty secure. If anything, the compression is amazing, just based off of our little experiment. So the phone itself is locked down. I think we can say that.
Are you saying then if I have a black phone, or wait, if I have the black phone and then I install the Facebook Messenger app on it, Is that going to defeat the purpose of the black phone? Or will it just be like, are you kidding me? Click yes to wipe your phone and then throw it away because you're an idiot.
I don't think it's going to tell you to throw your phone away, but the more that you sideload, especially if you're sideloading from questionable places, the more secure you're going to make the phone.
Yeah, I mean the phone itself doesn't have like the Google Play Store or any of the Google apps. It doesn't have like the Amazon Market or anything. You pretty much have to sideload that stuff to get apps from those locations, or you'd have to just sideload each and every app. The good thing is from what I understand is like any app that you install, automatically it prevents any of the permissions from being used at first, so you'd have to enable them manually. So there's a number of things that it does right. It tries to do HTTPS everywhere, and it tries to do a lot of things right from the get-go, preventing you from, as a user, circumventing its secure methods. But like anything with Android or any other operating system, you can go out of your way to make the phone or its apps more vulnerable, or your experience on that phone more vulnerable. So I mean, it's user beware, really. And actually, there's a article that was put out, I think, what was it, yesterday or maybe today? Oh, earlier today on Pocket Now, where they talk about 10 ways that Black Phone keeps you secure. So it goes through like a 10 list, bullet point of different things it does. Like it makes it mandatory to have a screen lock. For example, on your phone, you can't use anything like face unlock or swipe to unlock the phone. You pretty much have to put in a passcode or of some sort. It offers phone encryption on the phone itself. So that's pretty cool. It forces you, or not forces you, but it makes it highly optional and preferable to use the encryption that's built in on the phone, stuff like that. So
it's really not doing anything that, I mean, aside from the fact, like there's a different story we'll talk about where they discuss their patching, how they do patching.
Yeah.
But a lot of this stuff is already available and built into Android, like encryption is. But they've put their own twist on the operating system to make it easier to opt into those things, or mandatory in some cases.
Yeah.
And on top of that, like they've sort of upgraded some of the default services, like the Wi-Fi. It's using WPA supplicant, I think, just like the standard Linux Wi-Fi management tool, and then they've upgraded it and renamed it Kismet. I think Kismet is theirs. It could be something that was already existing, but they've just added and tweaked. But a lot of this stuff is already built into Android.
Yeah, and they kind of make it, if not the default, the preference. Hey, you need to encrypt this phone, when you're going through the setup process. And if you choose not to do it, it'll say, hey, we'll remind you, and that's not what you get in the regular Android experience, for example. So, and as you had mentioned, like the secure calling feature that you had tested. So, yeah. And it even mentions one of the bullet points here, secure contacts. So it basically segments your contacts to where they can't be viewed. So from the outside. So, and I think what Matt had mentioned. Oh, go for it.
Go ahead, Nick.
I was going to say what Matt had mentioned was there's a recent, or I guess what you had mentioned was there's a recent incident where apparently a Black Phone was hacked, at least to some extent recently.
Yeah, it was basically so this was DEF CON, and a team that was at DEF CON stated that they had found 3 vulnerabilities which led to them being able to get root access on the phone. Which for every other phone in existence, we'd throw up our hands and celebrate. But for Black Phone, it's not really something you want to see. That somebody was able to get root on it.
Yeah, I read an article on this earlier today, and I think they had mentioned that it wasn't like the person's just using the phone, walking around, and it got hacked. I think it was an issue where like they said, okay, here's a phone, they're handing it to someone, try to hack it. It's that kind of deal. So they had ADB enabled which it's disabled by default, but the person that bought the black phone, he had enabled it, and then plugged it up to a computer and hacked it essentially that way. And there's a number of things that were done by the user that made it easier for it to be hacked, is what I recall from the article. So
you're right, and there are the three things that they said were vulnerabilities. The first one was the ADB, the piece, which Black Phone came back and said, well, that's ADB is part of the operating system. We disable it by default and discourage its use, but I mean they said that's not a vulnerability. The second vulnerability they discovered, they said, on June 29th. They patched it on June 30th, and it was pushed out in an OTA update on August 1st.
Yeah, that's pretty quick turnaround too. I mean, not just for Android, but for any OS. So.
Yeah, that's pretty fast. Like basically, they found it on the 30th, patched it the next day, and then released it the next day. Like that's unheard of in any mobile, operating system. Even computers, like you really don't see that a lot except for on Linux. So.
Yeah.
And then the third vulnerability, I guess, is going to be discussed, or I'm sorry, was discussed a couple of days ago, and the Black Phone team is getting the details of that one from the team that found it.
Yeah, but I will say, it's a good start. If you're willing to segment yourself from, the Android or the Google Apps ecosystem, and you're willing to sideload select apps and really use it as a almost like a work phone or a security phone, like separate from your own phone, it'd probably be, a pretty good phone to get, as long as you, are pretty consistent, with your behavior. Don't try to root the phone yourself or leave ADB on or allow, third-party apps or whatever. If you do what you can to keep it secure, I think you're going to be safe 99% of the time with that phone.
Well, this is sort of, I mean, I see this is definitely like a first-gen product. I would hope that like in the next generation of this product they would do something similar to the Samsung Knox program, where if I'm thinking of the right program, it's where you have
segments,
two separate installs.
Yeah, one for you and one for quote unquote work, or that you would keep even
right now,
more.
You're right. This should be your second phone. Like this is not a good only phone, unless you're like I really just want a secure phone and I'm coming from my flip phone and I just really don't care about the smartphone crap. Like it's a very, very, very small market segment that would find that that example compelling. For most of us, we still want to do stuff on our phones because they cost so much money, and who wants to think that they paid all that money for something that you just talk on.
Yeah, the thing about the Black Phone is it's not like a quote-unquote burner phone, because those are typically your cheap, inexpensive phones you buy for a short period of time and you throw it away, essentially. This is a relatively expensive phone, not exactly the most high-end phone, but it's catered exclusively to the security club, essentially. So, it's definitely a work in progress, and I agree it's not perhaps as good as it should be for a first-gen product, but considering things, I think it sounds pretty cool. I mean, it's not a phone for me per se, but I can see someone in the security industry or the anti-security industry perhaps using a phone like that.
All anonymous members get the Black Phone.
Yeah.
Who to send them to, because they're anonymous.
Put them in the brown paper bag. Put it in the park. Somebody will pick it up later.
That's right.
How this thing works.
Eric, are you still loving your Oppo? Or are you over it?
I still like it. I'm a little over it though.
Yeah. You want?
Yeah.
What happened with the ladies' first disaster here? With the 1+1?
Well, thankfully that's not my phone. But I guess the whole thing with the 1+1 is that you have to be invited, and it's kind of irritating. Like you can't just go out and buy the phone. So let's just call them Oppo, because calling them OnePlus, insults our intelligence. they decided to run a contest called Ladies First, claiming that chivalry is not dead. Give the ladies a chance to skip to the front of the line, as long as they post pictures of themselves with the OnePlus logo.
That's such a cheap way to get fan What are those called? There used to be a name for
Selfies?
that. No, before that, there used to be a name for it where like female fans of like random websites would post pictures of themselves with the sign or the URL of the website. I want to say they were called like fan pics or something like that, but there was like a name for it. But that's what that reminds me of. It's like that's such a cheap way to do it. We'll let you buy this phone. We'll give you an invite to buy this phone first because you're a lady if you put our logo on those tatas and take a picture and put it up the side.
And of course, they're trying to, make it, I guess, more family friendly and say, no nudity pictures, please. But just even going that extra mile of trying to single it out makes people look at that first. So
nudity pics to the front.
Yeah.
Yeah, as if anybody's like, you know what? I really need that phone. Let me take my shirt off. Like nobody was ever going to post naked pictures with a OnePlus logo.
I don't know. I wouldn't say nobody. I mean, it's the internet, man. It's a big place. It's like saying nobody in America has, I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Matt, even if you do that Silence of the Lambs thing, you're still not a lady. They're still not going to give you a phone.
Whatever. I don't even want a phone. I have a phone, and I'm quite happy with it, thanks.
Yeah, does you for now.
Yeah, well, except for that whole GPS issue. No, actually, the Verizon Moto X got 444 pushed to it last week. So that's pretty sweet.
How's that?
I don't know. It's still all right. little buggy here and there, but it's okay. You work around the bugs. It reminds me of like the Droid X, where every morning you just reboot the thing because you knew like it was gonna want to reboot at some point in the morning, so you just preemptively reboot it.
This sounds awesome.
Yeah. So that was a disaster, and now nobody wants the OnePlus One, or what?
A lot of people still want the OnePlus One, but unfortunately, it's still invitation only.
Moving on. The Note 4 has been leaked a little bit. The biggest, giantest phone Samsung has ever made.
Yeah, pretty much the hottest phablet around, and it looks like it's got chamfered edges, which is probably unsafe territory for Samsung, yes, even still today. But it looks pretty decent. The back of the phone, at least from the leaked pic, from the articles that I've been reading, looks kind of weird. It's probably pretty grippy, which is something that older Samsung phones have not been known for. But it's probably all still going to be plastic, notwithstanding the what looks like to be aluminum edges, that are chamfered. So,
Nick, I don't have the bandwidth to Google that very long word that you keep saying. What the hell is chamfered?
Chamfered is kind of like beveled or edges that are kind of cut. So imagine you have like or a corner where you have a 90-degree angle. Well, when you do a chamfered edge, you basically sort of cut a 45-degree angle into that, or something along those lines. But it's the way the metal is treated. They call it chamfered. It's a weird word, I admit, but that's essentially the process. I've seen a number of Apple iPhone videos where they're talking about the chamfered edges, and they show machines that basically cut into the beveled edge around the phone, and it goes around the phone edges. And so that's what is going on here. There's a bezel that goes around four corners of this phone that's made out of aluminum or some sort of metal, and the bezels are beveled. I don't know what you call it, but anyways, that's
the edges off basically.
Yeah, they sort of erode or wear the edges off to where it gives it kind of a premium look and gives it a little bit of a glint when you look at it. When you move the phone around and the light hits it at a certain angle, you get a glimmering effect. So it's kind of cool in that respect too. So
that's a satin phone. Check out the show notes if you want to see what chamfered means.
Yeah, and one thing about the phone, it's going to be a 5.7-inch screen, which is I think the last Note is a 5.8 No, it's 5.7 as well, so it would be the same size. But instead of a 1920 by 1080p display, it would be Quad HD, which is like 2560 by 1440. So it would be this, the normal size of the Note 3, probably about the same size, about the same weight, maybe a tiny bit heavier if it's using metal around the edges, but with a Quad HD display, which is really what all the flagships are aiming for nowadays. So that's a thing. So it looks like, Mobile World Congress, when that comes out, usually they have their own Unpacked event where they basically announce the Note 4, pretty much like they've done all the previous Notes. So it looks like that's going to be coming up.
It doesn't look bad. It does not look bad.
Yeah, I think they're improving, and I actually like the look of the Note 3. It's got like a, I don't know what you call it, the leather-esque, leather-like exterior on the back. That looks actually pretty decent. I have a friend that has one of those, and I personally like the look of the phone. And considering how small the bezels are on all four sides, it's not as big as it could be. There are a lot of other phones with 5.5, 5.7 inch displays that are significantly larger. So that's one of the things Samsung does really well, is make a relatively small phone with a relatively large display. Or IFA, I guess, is the next event. That's generally when they announce their Note lineup. Like last year, they announced their Note 3 and a smartwatch. And rumor has it they have another smartwatch coming out that's actually a completely dedicated smartwatch. So instead of something that has to be tethered to your phone, like all the previous Gear phones, it looks like they're working on a standalone phone as well. So that could be interesting.
We shall wait with bated breath.
Yes.
In the meantime, did you see the other rumor about codename Shamu?
Yes, and that actually sounds interesting. So for me, I've always thought they would actually come out with like a Nexus 5.5 instead of a Nexus 6, because of the whole Nexus 6 name was part of the whole Philip K. Dick novel, something about sheep and dreaming. I can't remember. It's been so long. But the movie Blade Runner was based on that. So I thought, well, they'd never come out with the Nexus 6 device. Well, sure enough, it sounds like Google is actually working on a Nexus 6 device codenamed Shamu. So that sounds interesting. And it looks like it would be made by Motorola, so that's interesting.
Yeah, part of the reason why the speculation, why people think that this might be accurate is, if you remember, Motorola, Google sold off everything except for a couple of small divisions. They sold off to Lenovo. So now that Motorola is not, in the family anymore, the thought is that they're not going to risk pissing off all the other hardware manufacturers who might have seen it as preferential treatment or favoritism if they would have gone with the Nexus, with the Motorola Nexus phone in the past.
Yeah, I know LG, they had made the last two Nexus devices, but I had seen a couple recent interviews or articles where they basically said they don't know who's making the phone, or they're not making the next phone. So it seems likely that someone else will be making a Nexus device, and if it's not someone like HTC, obviously Motorola sounds like a decent option. And considering Lenovo doesn't really have any pull in America with, their line, I'm pretty sure it'd be Motorola at this point, if not maybe Samsung. But I'm not sure if we'll ever see any Samsung Nexus devices again.
Yeah, I don't think that they would ever go for it. There's no point. Like they've already made the name for themselves. They're on their own path.
Yeah.
And plus they have Tizen, so I guess that's a big middle finger to Google anyway.
Yeah. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see. We're seeing the Google Play devices go away, and maybe we'll see something like Android Silver. But it'd be interesting to see how well something like the Moto 360 works with the Nexus 6, or if it'd be something that would work specifically better with only Motorola devices.
Unless Lenovo is changing, unless Lenovo is like going to change and go the Samsung route. Like I see Motorola as staying sort of device agnostic when it comes to that sort of thing. Like the only stuff that Motorola has put out in recent years that is only Motorola, I think, is like that skip accessory where you can unlock your phone by like tapping it against this little clip. But for something like a watch, I mean, they just want to sell devices, I think.
Yeah.
So, what else you want to talk about, Nick? Oh, here's a fun one. Since we're talking about Chinese phone manufacturers,
Yes.
did you hear the whole controversy about Xiaomi?
Yeah, Xiaomi or whatever they're called. Their phones were recently uploading all their users' contacts without permission, and that's something that my understanding was that was limited exclusively to anyone that signed up with their cloud services, but apparently it was occurring to anyone that just had a Xiaomi phone that automatically, whenever they, authenticated to the network and, got connected, that their contact list would essentially be uploaded to Xiaomi. That offhand sounds creepy.
Yeah, and so where this originated, like you said, like you thought it was people that had opted into their cloud services. What ended up being the case, because they kept denying, like we don't do that with our customers' data. That's crazy. Pardon me. But what actually happened was that when you activate the phone, they are automatically opting you into not just their cloud services. They're not opting you into their cloud services, I don't think, but they're automatically opting you into their cloud messaging, which is similar to iMessage. And the way that works is that your messages, go over the internet and they go to Apple servers, and then Apple distributes them.
Yeah, you basically avoid SMS charges by using the service. Yeah.
Well, Xiaomi has that same thing, but because they were auto-enrolling people, part of that enrollment process is, sucking up your contacts into their cloud.
Yeah.
Which they say they're not going to do anymore, because they're good little boys and girls.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm wondering if the people who denied it even knew that this feature existed, or if they knew to what extent this feature, was used. Maybe there was confusion there, but at least outwardly, it seems like it could have been used for something devious. But then again, they're a relatively new company, so.
But you know what really surprises me is that seems very obvious. Like, if I were, Hugo Barra, and I came into a room and I said, okay, listen guys, they're putting out articles saying that we are uploading contacts to our servers. What do we have that even does that? And then somebody would raise their hand and say, well, sir, our messaging platform does that. Okay, why would it do that for everybody? We're automatically enrolling them? Like this little logical chain is not hard to follow. Why did it take like weeks of denying to actually say, oh, our bad?
Yeah, and basically, if I remember correctly, it was someone like F-Secure, and they basically just did a simple packet capture using like Wireshark or whatever, and essentially was able to see this information. And the whole point of them actually being able to see if encryption was being used, that would be one thing, but they're not even using encrypting, so the contacts are going out in the clear, so they could actually see what was being transmitted because it wasn't even protected. That's one aspect of the story that I remember. So that's kind of weird. So it's not just that they're getting your contacts; they're getting your contacts in the clear. So theoretically, between you and China, that metadata could be visible or viewable by someone else.
I'm imagining somebody just sitting in a mall in China with their laptop pulled up in Wireshark.
Yeah.
Just sit next to a Xiaomi store or like a cell phone place and just watch the activations roll in.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh man, that's very sad. I don't know, Nick. Dealer's choice. What do you want to talk about next?
Let's see. I'll go towards the kind of weird Goat Simulator coming to Android. So this was, this was a pretty what do you say, popular PC title. I'm not sure if it's still as popular as it was, a month or two ago, but it's basically a sort of a simulator that uses physics, pretty heavily, but not apparently very sophisticated physics. And then, your avatar of choice is essentially a goat using these poor physics. And anyways, but this game really took off a couple months ago when it came out. Actually, when it was like in beta, it kind of took off, and you could download it for next to nothing off Steam. and it's now coming to Android. So that's pretty crazy.
I'm interested in this. I've never played this game. It looks really stupid, but I find the videos to be hilarious.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of little like Easter eggs that are thrown in there. There was an episode of Know How, which is a show on the Twit Network, where they were talking about like the best Easter eggs of Goat Simulator.
Yeah.
And there's like one where you can convince fellow goats to like follow you up a hill, and then you sacrifice them, and then you become the devil goat, and you can like fly. This is the most bizarre game in the world, and it warms the deepest cockles of my heart to know that it's coming to Android.
That's right, and iOS and Xbox. So it's pretty popular, but pretty crazy game. So my kids have played it. They've enjoyed it. So they don't play it now, but at least it's a pretty popular fad. It looks like we'll have it pretty soon.
Playing Goat.
When you say fad, you mean like you play it once and then never touch it again, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Pretty much. Or you play it for a limited time. I mean, there's been a lot of Let's Play videos out there that are pretty hilarious. You know, people just goofing around with it, but it's not a quality title. It's not something that keeps you in there, you know, due to a plot or impressive graphics, or there's nothing to it other than just silliness from running your goat around. So.
Good stuff. Keeping with.
I do love running my goat around.
You guys want to talk about the Shield next? We got a few stories about that. First, we should mention Google not gonna call games free anymore if they have in-app purchases.
Yeah.
So, what do you make a whole nother area on the store that's like free with in-app purchases, or what do you call that then?
Yeah, so
but not free to play.
So yeah, you have three common words. You have free to play, freemium, and I forgot the other word. But there's like three different, you know, games with in-app purchases.
I believe the word you were looking for is rip-off.
Yes. But yeah, it's kind of hard to tell what game is what really. What differentiates, you know, freemium from free to play, or you know, anything else. So, you know, yeah.
Yeah, I just think another interesting part of the article is that Apple has specifically said we will not do this. So
it's the EU.
They're drawing the ire of the EU.
Right. We should mention it's the EU that has started this.
Yeah, well, there's been some games that have come out as quote-unquote free-to-play, but what that means is it's free to get in, but you can't really go anywhere in the game until you pay, and pay a lot. And so we've seen a couple decisions in the EU, at least one of them with, what was it? Not Crazy Taxi. That's a more recent game with issues, but I can't remember the other game, but there was a game where Dungeon Keeper, I think that was it, where you could play the game and start having fun initially, but to really make use of anything in the game or to make any real progress, you had to pay, and you had to pay a lot over time, you know, to make significant progress.
And I mean, this isn't a new business model. Drug dealers have been giving people their first hit for free for many, many decades now.
Yeah.
Once them hooked, driving the price up.
Way up, yeah.
Simple economics, right? It's simple economics here.
Yeah, go for it, Eric.
No, nothing. Just think of the children. This is fine.
Yeah, no, but yeah, there was a recent decision.
Talk about this before with games that have like casino gambling games in them that you play to then get things in the game. Like, you're giving them $1 to get 3 spins on the. I mean, that's gambling in effect, and it's kids that are doing it, and that's fine. Who cares? Gamble. Move to Vegas. F it.
Yeah. And there's another recent game that's come out that's got a lot of attention called Crazy Taxi. It's a new remake of the Crazy Taxi franchise by Sega, and it looks like a really good game, but apparently, you know, you have to buy diamonds to get gas, and if you can only have a certain amount of diamonds through certain missions and stuff like that. So that's kind of a big thing there. But it's a free game, but you know, really to go in here with that game to continue having fun, you have to pay a lot.
How do you guys? And I know this is totally different, but just to throw it out there, how do you think like the whole gaming console industry would have evolved had it utilized this type of model early on, where you pay $200 for your new Xbox, and then you start playing the game, and all of a sudden it's like, bling, please insert $1 to continue. You know, like
Yeah.
that's basically what this is. I mean, you
Yeah.
can say it
Didn't
however
it
you
start
want.
that way? Like arcades? Like we were there.
Right.
Start that way,
Yeah,
but, like,
yeah,
very
yeah.
early on.
And yeah.
That's true, but you paid to get in with that first quarter too, so.
Funny enough, at the arcade is where you bought the drug. No, never mind.
Yeah, what a coincidence.
I'm gonna get stoned and
I
play
think that
Rampage.
If consoles would have done this back in the 80s, 90s, even early 2000s, it would have been a no-go. And I think today it still, for the most part, is a no-go. But we've
I think Eric cut out. I'm not sure
the
if
whole
it,
like
oh, there.
the 99-cent mentality of
Right.
I'll just throw in a little extra money, and
It's a buck.
It-
What's a buck?
it's just a buck. I mean,
It's just
come
a
on, man,
buck.
that's a cup of coffee.
Yeah, just a buck,
Well,
guys. I paid less
Then you
than
get
that for my
milked to
car.
death from everything that you use, and you don't end up actually owning anything. Like you don't
Right.
you don't own the game, you don't own the full game. You just have to keep on throwing another quarter into the effing machine, and I find it very irritating.
But
So
you know what?
Thank you, Google, for being.
You know what
transparent.
though? That drove innovation to drill holes in quarters and tie strings around them, and so I mean,
Did
you
that
know,
ever work?
I'm just saying. I don't know. I see it in movies all the time, but I can't find a damn arcade around here. But I mean, you have like emulators that have all those arcade games on a chip this big now, which is awesome.
Yeah. So okay, download the emulator,
Put
tie
it
a
in a
string to a
giant
quarter, and then stick it in your computer.
Put it in a giant wooden box with a really crappy CRT monitor, and stand in front of it for 6 hours.
There you go.
Just-
Like a standing desk. That's healthy.
Yeah,
That's just.
just like that.
Oh,
Eric, what do you envision the arcade of the future being? Virtual, perhaps?
Lazy boys with Oculus Rifts surgically implanted onto our faces.
Yes. Would you like the permanent or the... That's
Permanent
awesome.
or semi-permanent.
Right? Do you want
And
this...
I would opt for semi-permanent, so that way I could upgrade it.
Ah, no planned obsolete. You're not going to trick this guy. You're not going to trick this sucker. Uh-uh.
My Lazy Boy is heated and it vibrates.
That is true, and it has a toilet. So good on you.
I think.
Good on you. So Google's gonna go ahead and rename these something else. I guess we'll see what they end up going with.
It's still
And
not renamed.
Apple pretty much just gave them the big finger.
Yeah.
I love that. So good. And Microsoft's like, what about us? We do that too. They're like, who? Who are you again? Don't you own the Clippers? No, wait, that's that other guy. Never mind.
I see this as, well, I don't know. It could be a bad move. It could be a good move. Like I see it more as a bad move of using its clout to screw over American companies in giant lawsuits like Microsoft, like Google, like we just saw with this, right to be forgotten stuff.
Yeah.
Apple giving the finger to the EU about this maybe is not such a good idea, and maybe we'll see a bigger lawsuit happen in the near future.
Yeah, I guess they're partly trying to. They're American companies, so they're. It's not like they're a France-based company, and they can only be harmed so much by the EU, and they'll just keep fighting. That's one thing Apple is not in any shortage of is lawyers, so they'll just keep going to court.
Yeah, but I mean, Europe is a pretty big market for Apple.
Yeah.
Let's not kid ourselves. I mean, I think the U.S. is number one.
Yeah.
China's probably getting up there. If it's not number two, it's probably going to be number two. But I mean, your number three customer is still important.
Yeah, and I think one thing that we need to do is get defined what exactly is freemium. What does that mean? What exactly is free to pay? What exactly is in-app? Like, how can you differentiate between all these different free games? There's free to play, and freemium? You know, what literally do those mean? How much of the game can you play without having to pay for something? Can you actually complete the game without paying anything, or does it take an inordinately long time, or what? So I do think that's something that needs to be explored. What exactly do these terms mean? And you know, what are we getting into? Are we going to have a different section in the store for each? Although I'd say at this point, the entire free section seems to it just includes all of those types, you know. So free to get in, but at some point you might have to or might want to pay for something. And when do we draw that line?
I hope that it's something along the lines of like games where you buy currency. Games where you demo it first, then you buy the full game. Like if they make those sort of delineations, I'm happy with that, because I'm okay with basically, you know, like old school PC gaming. I get a demo up front, and then I unlock the game by buying it. I'm okay with that. But the whole, like, you know, I need to buy 50 donuts so I can do, you know, this, that, or the other. Like, that's
And really, what is that teaching our children? Your children? I don't know. What your children? Like, that's
well, if my children are out there, so I'll have to pass this to Nick, because they haven't written to the show yet.
To all my children who may or may not be out there.
Like our kids, they play on you know, the Kindle Fire tablets we have. We have, you know, all three, one of each of all the three Kindle tablets that have come out. And what we've ended up doing is essentially locking them down, and we've allowed them, you know, to play some apps that are on there. But I know at least once we've run into a situation where one of our daughters, she was able to buy some $0 apps or something. I can't remember what it was. So even though that she wasn't able to actually spend any money, what occurred on our Amazon bill or whatever it was, we would see $0 items on there. So there was that risk that she could have actually bought something. So we're having to deal with that ourselves. So
did you sit her down? Like, did you sit all your kids down and say, "Listen, kids,
we're gonna have
people
the
who
talk.
buy donuts are stupid."
Yeah.
Stupid donut buyer.
I want to tell you about the birds and the bees. When the birds order things from Amazon and the bees order things from the iPhone store, with mom and
makes
dad's
Daddy's credit card bill very unhappy.
That's right.
Very right. And daddy, and then you get stung.
I'm glad that we brought that analogy to like a logical conclusion. That makes me happy.
Right. I can't leave things like that open-ended. Closure. Closure, man. Closure.
So what?
The Shield? Yes.
Yeah, that's one of the things I want to talk about as well. Is I've actually been very excited about this tablet, although I can't afford it at this moment. I'm pretty certain my next tablet is going to be this NVIDIA Shield. So I may not necessarily get the controller, but the tablet itself I like a lot. It's basically a brand new tablet that just came out. It's produced by NVIDIA with, you know, their NVIDIA architecture. You know, it has all the Kepler cores, blah blah blah. But it's looks pretty nice. It's got a wireless, I think at least up to N built in, maybe AC. But I know that it also has two front-facing speakers, which is something almost no tablet or phone has. And I really would want to get. Yeah.
Except it has one, huh?
Yeah. But yeah, this one, like, I have the old, you know, the original Nexus 7, and I do need an upgrade, and this is like miles better than this. And there's so many features that it has, particularly if you have like an NVIDIA computer and you want to do streaming, or, you know, you want to set up the tablet in console mode and, you know, connect it directly to your TV and play games. So
let me ask you, are we down with NVIDIA again then? Because I remember we went through a time where Linus was giving them the finger, and everyone was like, "Yeah, F NVIDIA, this is bull." Like, are we all again? I want to check and make sure.
NVIDIA and AMD have both been trying to appease the Linux crowd more as well. You know, try to offer more driver support. I'm really not sure how well that's come across, but you know, particularly with their own, you know, devices, you know, they've done okay, particularly with tablets, not so much with smartphones. But, you know, like the Nexus 7, the original Nexus 7 when it came out, the Tegra 3 was supposed to be pretty hot, but relatively compared to a lot of the chipsets of the day, maybe not so hot.
Yeah, and the Prime had that. The Transformer Prime that we got had the Tegra 3, and the stuff that was designed for it worked really well. Like that Riptide game, when they, that was like the thing was like, oh, check this out. It was cool for that, for having it this big on your tablet.
Yeah, well, it looks like the Tegra K1, which is what it has now, is actually pretty comparable to the top end SoCs of today. So, and it's got Kepler cores, so it has not just like the mobile OpenGL support.
Capricorn.
Kepler, K-E-P.
Kepler cores, like like the telescope.
Yeah.
The satellite thing. Okay. I kept hearing like Capricorn. I was like, what are you saying?
I'm from Texas. There's not a lot of words that I say right.
That's all right.
Yeah, y'all.
Y'all talking about cores here. Half the cores.
So yeah. Anyways, it looks to be a pretty impressive tablet. You can buy it for you can buy it for $300 or $400, basically, depending upon if you have just the Wi-Fi version with 16 gigs of storage, or the version with LTE, and 32 gigs of storage. So. But they've even got their own set of peripherals, that have come out at the same time, so you can order them. A lot of tablets that come out have no peripherals, or it's maybe a few weeks or months before third parties come out with their own peripherals to it. But in this case, you get the tablet and its own set of peripherals, on day one.
If you play Goat Simulator on the Shield, are you going to recommend a controller, or are you just going to go ahead and go tablet on that?
Probably recommend a controller, like a lot of games.
Okay, just checking. Eric?
Yes, Matt?
What are you typing?
Nothing. I was trying to find out what the Wi-Fi, if it's wireless N or if it's wireless AC. I can't find it.
Who cares?
Well, I'm interested, Matt.
Are you?
And I think our listeners are interested.
I don't think our listeners care. I think whatever Wi-Fi they have, it's probably going to work with it.
Maybe. Well, that's game streaming, though. I think if it's AC, that the game streaming technology from the computer to the tablet will work much better, methinks.
True.
Yeah. Well, we'll say this. Most people aren't going to upgrade their wireless router just to get a device, and that's kind of an interesting thing. Most people, once they have a wireless router, they basically stick with it until it breaks. So.
I don't know though. Lately, I don't know if somebody gets a new thing and it doesn't work on their thing at home.
Yeah.
That thing's going right back, getting a new one, replacing it. I've seen it. I've seen it twice.
Yeah, it's probably situational, so.
Well, sure. Depends.
One thing to note is that the LTE version is not available yet. You can only get the Wi-Fi version, the 16 gigabyte. So that's
Would you want a LTE version? I feel like that would.
The benefit of the LTE version is that you have more storage on the device.
Why?
Like, even if you're not going to use the LTE part of it, having double the storage, I think is a big deal.
Why is having an LTE antenna giving you more storage? Are you storing data on the antenna?
Yeah, Matt. Are you not an engineer? Do you not know how this works?
Yeah, no, I was just seeing if you knew how it worked.
Thank you. Yeah,
okay.
Of course you store it on the antenna.
Right, that makes sense.
It is cloud storage.
Right.
But it's on the device.
It's cloud on the device.
It's so it can be closer. You want all your data as close to you as possible, so your antenna is perfect
spot. It's our new cloud device protocol. It's called Closer.
Perfect.
I'm just saying, if anybody needs help writing a season of Silicon Valley, we are available. So I'll just throw that out there.
Pretty awesome.
Well, it does support Wi-Fi Direct, but yeah, I can't see anywhere where it says AC or not. I'm a pain in the ass.
They're obfuscating it. They're hiding it because it's running a modified version of 802.11b.
Ooh, ooh, that's gonna be really fast when you hook it up to your old Belkin 802.11b router.
That's right.
I have one of those somewhere around here.
Related to the NVIDIA Shield tablet, quick story is that Valve updated Portal and Half-Life 2, so now they work on the new tablet. So you have yet another cool games.
Do those run on the Nexus 10 yet?
They're Shield exclusive for now.
Ooh.
Valve has not released them for other devices other than the Shield.
Oh, I see. So they updated it to work with the new one, but they already worked with it, right? Okay. Thank you, Eric.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
By the way, I was able to locate the NVIDIA Shield tablet does not do wireless AC. It does do it does have both 2.4 and 5 gigahertz bands, but it doesn't do wireless AC. Still fast enough, but still you'd want AC because it's like 3 times faster.
Well, I would just plug it in Ethernet then at that point, wire that thing in. Boom.
You know, it'd be interesting to see, you know, it does have USB but not Ethernet, but I wonder if it would use a USB to Ethernet adapter. That'd be something to test out.
Interesting. Or Bluetooth. I just stream my movies the reliable, high bandwidth, high throughput Bluetooth LE protocol.
That's right. No, Bluetooth 3.0. None of that LE faster.
No, I still like to use LE because it works and it's stable.
Yeah.
I'm not messing with that new stuff.
That's right.
Not yet. I'll let you guys mess with it and drop your networks.
So real quick, I wanted to mention.
Around.
Yeah.
That's right.
I wanted to mention one story here that I put in the rundown. There's a new motorcycle helmet that's come out. They put it on Indiegogo, and it's already met its goal like within like a day or so. But it's called the Scully AR1, and it's kind of like if you had Google Glass, but in a motorcycle helmet. So this looks pretty cool.
This is going to be so safe.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Helmet ever.
It's a HUD that's built in. I haven't actually seen footage as to like what it's supposed to look like, if it's supposed to be off to the corner or if it's going to obscure your vision. I highly doubt that. But if you think about it, this motorcycle helmet is $1,400 and Google Glass is $1,500. So it's actually cheaper than Google Glass, but it's it's probably better.
I want this so bad. I want it on some snowboard goggles though.
Oh yeah.
I also want it on the windshield of my car.
Yeah. I know of at least one device that's out there for a car. You basically put it on your dashboard and it shines it against that. But yeah, that'd be cool to get. But yeah, this looks kind of interesting. This
I just
new
like the
motorcycle
whole
helmet.
idea of using large glass or see-through, I guess, areas to overlay information on like that.
Yeah.
That you're in.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It's pretty neat. I would be really pissed though if I wiped out and destroyed my $1,400 helmet.
I would never take my $1,400 helmet off. It would be my life helmet, basically.
That's right.
You'd be sitting on the TV, like sitting in front of the TV with the helmet
Yeah,
on.
I'd be like the Stig. I would just
I'd admit-
never take it off, except for that one episode where they, yeah. So that's
Like
pretty
that.
cool. Could you wire this up to that AR gun Linux scope? What was that called? Tracking point. Could you wire up a tracking point scope rifle to your AR1 Android-powered helmet? Yes.
That's the thing.
Good.
I would mount that in my car as a turret, like Batman's. Like it just come up and it's like, and then it would just.
That's why everyone thinks Montana's weird.
Is this it? Is this why?
It might be.
This couldn't be it. Montana
People
was
riding
weird.
around in their
Montana was
snowmobiles,
weird.
their turrets.
Yes. It was that Stallone movie, Cliffhanger. Didn't they have a scene where there was a bunch of like snowmobiles and skiers and they're all like shooting and trying to? Anyway, $1,400 is a lot of money, but it is pretty cool. I like that it's called the Scully. I'll wait for the next version, the Molder. Molder. It's a weird word, Molder. Verizon, if you still have unlimited data, like a couple of us might still have, they're going to start. And now, is this the top 2% of users?
Top 5%.
Top 5% of users. Okay, so, and I imagine that number gets smaller and smaller every upgrade cycle, as people run out of lines to add to continue maintaining their unlimited data plan. Yeah, eventually it's just going to be like you and 3 other people, even though you're not using any more data. By de facto, you are now the top 5%, and you're getting throttled, and you're getting throttled. Like,
No, you hold out for that, and then you sue them for throttling you.
can you do that?
Be like, I'm on unlimited, my friend.
Well, you can sue them. It's whether or not you'll win. That's the key.
Define what unlimited means in this term of service.
First of all, did you read the term of service?
No.
No.
It's probably like the FDA and zero calories. If you have just low enough amount of calories in a serving, you can still list it on your product as 0 calories. So same thing here. Unlimited is, to some extent unlimited until you reach that point where there's a limit.
So it's
the fact that we have unlimited, like all these people, all these cell phone companies tout unlimited, but then they throw so many limiting caveats on there, just shows you that the FCC in the United States has no balls whatsoever.
Ooh.
Like
Ooh.
they suck so bad that this is because every customer is unhappy with the fact that like limited doesn't mean unlimited, but nobody does anything about it.
We complained about this back when they were like 4G LTE and 3G LTE, and looking at like what the standards said the specs of the speed was, and what they were like, no, this is 4th generation. Like, it's the same shit. The FCC didn't have balls back then. They had little
hamster balls. Yeah.
little hamster balls. Little dingo balls. Yeah, but it's stupid. And it's stupid that you have to have people being like, so what does this mean? Like, what am I paying you $1,500 every freaking year for? It says starting in October 2014, Verizon will extend its network optimization policy. Is that what you're calling it? Our network optimization policy. Watch us optimize our network and throttle everybody.
Yeah, optimize you to 100 kbps.
Right? You have been optimized. Thank you for choosing Verizon.
They're using quality of service to have no quality of service.
Isn't that amazing? The users who will fall within the top 5% of data users on our network have fulfilled their minimum contractual commitment and are on unlimited plans using 4G LTE device. You may experience slower data speeds when using certain high bandwidth applications, like, streaming HD video or real-time online gaming, or when you're connecting to a cell site when it's being used a bunch.
Yeah, so if you live in a city, a dense city like Chicago or New York or something,
and you like video,
it's going to be throttled.
Yeah.
The one
100%.
thing that they're like, check out these new fast data speeds that you can totally stream HD video on. Cool, thanks. Whatever. I'm over it.
Yeah. This story makes me sad. Let's skip it.
Do you guys have app picks? I saw something in the doc that said, oh my god, Dan, an app pick.
I got app pick.
Oh my god, an app pick. We all have one. That's exciting. I just want more people to play mine with me, so that's why I have one. All right, Eric, start us off, if you please.
So my app pick is called Sorcery! ! It is one of two games. There's Sorcery! And Sorcery 2. They are from Steve Jackson Games, I believe. And back in the day, I want to say like the 80s, there were these sort of like choose your own adventure style games. I don't know if you're old enough, you might remember this.
Like
so this
Temple
is basically
of
taking.
Apshai? Is that old enough for you?
What is it?
Temple of Apshai. It was an
Temple
Apple
of
II.
Apshai.
It was an Apple IIc game like that.
I think you might be correct.
Okay.
So this is sort of like those, like choose your own adventure, but it's done in a way that's like comic book drawing. Like it's hard to explain, but it's really fun, and you sort of it's like playing Dungeons and Dragons or something, and you move your piece from one point on the map to the other, and then something interactive happens, and you can fight people, and your little comic paper cutout people are fighting one another. It's a fun game, actually. It's $5 for each for Sorcery 1 and Sorcery 2, and I've been playing it, and I think it's totally worth the $5. I've been playing it for a few hours and still having a lot of fun.
Wow,
So
that's
check it out.
That's like $1 an hour almost if you play for a couple more.
It's true. I mean, the return on investment is out of this world.
Yeah, no,
Great.
that's good. I rarely get anywhere near $1 an hour worth of anything.
That's really good. I'm gonna check that out.
You know what I find very funny though is if you look at their, I mean, this is a professional company, right? Like this isn't some 2-bit 20-year-old doing this in his garage. So if you look at the screenshots on their Google Play Store entry, you can actually see you still see like the notification bar at the top where it shows the icon for having taken a screenshot.
That's awesome.
You can see that their battery was very low and that they were on Wi-Fi, and then they went into airplane mode. It's great. So I'll stop talking.
I was actually I was trying to screen share it here so that everyone could check these out. There you go. Good. See that? That's so good. I like the little paper cutout like fighty. It's awesome.
It's a lot of fun.
It's good. It's really good. So, all right, Nick.
So yeah, I have an app pick that I just found out I found out about just a couple hours before this podcast. I was looking through my Google Plus, and someone that I follow, Francois Belfort, he's a French guy that now works for Google, but he would often dig into like the source code for like different Google products and basically leak a lot of stuff beforehand. And so Google, of course, hired him, and he basically developed a little app called Cog. It's a free app. You can download from either the Google Play Store or you can get on the Chrome App Store. But it's an Android app and it's a Chrome app, and it basically allows you to look at your system info, your different things like CPU, memory, what type of wireless you have, how much available RAM, that kind of stuff. And it uses what looks like the Material Design UI from Android L. So it's already out on Google Play Store for free, and it's out on the Google, the Chrome Web Store. So if you want to use it on like the Chrome browser, or like you have a Chromebook or Chromebox or something, any Windows PC or any computer that runs a browser, you can run this little app, and it looks really nice. It's small, it's simple, but it displays a nice bit of information, and it's pretty cool. So I highly recommend it. It's called Cog.
Very cool. Cog. All right, I got an app pick. It's from it's an iOS game that my friend showed me, and now I can't stop playing it on Android. It's called Piano Tiles. Don't touch the white tile. Like a scrolly piano zen type of game. Anyway, check it out. I just wanted to mention that because I was in first place for a while in one of the arcade games there. So if you can beat my 3 seconds in that dash, then bring it on.
Are you sure that this is a legit game?
Yeah, I've only been playing it for like the last 3 weeks.
Are there in-app purchases?
The very first screenshot says, "What additive game?"
Hold on.
So not only did they use instead of N, but they instead of saying an addictive game, they said additive game.
It's so additive.
It's so additive. I can't even contain the additivity.
Hey, maybe English isn't their first language, dick. Did you ever think of that?
Well, listen.
It's probably not even their second language.
This thing is making so much money off of this app. Maybe he could pay somebody to do proper.
Maybe you should just try and beat my score and shut your mouth. How about that?
Okay, I'll do that.
No, I'm sure I'd never read this stuff. I would probably find spelling errors in all of it, and yeah. I'm sorry I yelled at you, Eric. I feel terrible now. I don't see what you're seeing. Oh, what? But redoing text in a screenshot sucks, man. I would have just put it up there too. Actually, no, I would have caught that beforehand. Can we share this real quick so everyone can enjoy what we're laughing at here? This is pretty good.
Wow. Yeah, look at that.
What a additive game. And see, they got 2.8. That beat my 3. So, shit. But yeah, it's like a piano game. You classic Zen Rush arcade. Play them all. It's fun.
It's additive.
It's very additive.
Oh man, somebody should email that guy. What's his name? Huang Zhang. Somebody should
Huan
email
Zhang.
Huang Zhang. If that is indeed your name. It might not be.
They
We got a
should
new
just hire
IRC chat I want to mention. attacktheandroids.com/live. You can check out the little web version there. Or, Eric, are we on Freenode?
That's right, Matt. If you go to irc.freenode.net and then do /join #AOTA, you can join us in the
Can
IRC
you,
chat.
or do you have to be invited still?
You don't have to be invited, you giant dick.
Earlier you did. So.
It was an act. Listen,
No,
Chan
that's
surf.
fine.
That's all I'm going to say. Chan surf.
Chan surf.
Not my fault.
Nick surf, Chan surf. Oh, this is taking me back. I really like IRC.
Later up, we're going to start up some F-serves.
Yeah. XDCC bots. Some X.
Play BBS door game.
We're gonna have a giant line because I'm only on dial-up, so I can only have one person downloading it 4K per time. So
we'll do a trivia game with a bot, a trivia bot.
Do you remember that? We had a rap bot once we made. We fed it a whole bunch of like battle rap and your mama stuff. And so whenever anyone would come in, it would like spit a battle at you, and then you would write back at it, and then it would write back at you. It was kind of fun.
Yeah,
and then,
people need to come to this room because if enough people encourage us, we will add bots and it'll be fun.
It will be fun. IRC will be fun again. Do you remember when IRC was fun? I do.
I do.
I also do.
That's
All right.
why I didn't date school.
Good stuff. Thanks for joining us for another episode. AttackingTheAndroids.com. That's our site. Eric has the email address, and it is
show@attackoftheandroids.com.
Yeah. Check us out maybe next week, maybe in a couple weeks. Who knows? It's summertime. Don't be in front of the computer all summer. For real. Like, go outside, get some sun. You're going to need to pack that sun away for this long winter we're about to have. So, all right. And yeah, let's play some games online. Piano tiles or sorcery! It is good. All right, guys. AttackingTheAndroids.com. Thanks for listening. Peace.